Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of With It Easy. Today we're going to talk about 3D line plot and how we can make ChatGPT to help us plot a nicely 3D waterfall plot like the one shown on the left. So first, let's jump into this example. So you can find this example in this GitHub repo called dv4c. Is under this subdirectory called ms deconvoluted data, and we have this PNG file right here. To plot this data, we need this the raw data behind it, and the raw data can be found in the same subdirectory. If you go here, there's a CSV file called multiple sample deconvoluted mass spec data, and if you click on that, this is the raw data we will use, and unfortunately, this is not shown as a with any preview in GitHub itself. So we just download the raw file, as we have discussed in the previous section in our With the Easy channel. If you haven't checked it out, make sure you check it out. It is in the same playlist as this one. So once this download is done, we can again open a new Jupyter Notebook file so that we can keep everything nicely. I'm gonna name this mass spec multi-sample waterfall plot. All right, if you have any question about how to set up Jupyter Notebook, how to set up your virtual environment, make sure you check out our Python setup video, which is also in the description of this video. But let us take a look at the raw data. So if we open this, our download folder, this one is the one that we just downloaded. And we want to get a glance of the data structure so we can properly fit that information to ChatGPT. So let's go to ChatGPT and say, assuming that we don't know how to do that, I have a CSV file named how can I open it in Python and take a look at some example rows to understand its columns. All right, after we paste in the code from the ChatGPT, we do need to change the file path to the absolute file path. And if you are not sure what I'm talking about, make sure you check out our first video talking about the single sample mass spec line lot. And I also highlight the timestamp where we talk about the issue we're into about the absolute file path versus relative file path, and make sure you check that in the description if you got confused about that. But in this case, we will go to our Finder, make sure we get the, wait, where did it go? There we go. Make sure we copy the absolute file path, and we can just run it. There we go. So this is the structure of our CSV file. Now we have this, and we also have the plot here, which is right here. So I can actually just copy paste that into ChatGPT, I think. Yeah, great. So I can say I have a data file with columns like below, and I just copy this. Can you help me generate codes to plot the data in a 3D fashion as shown in the attached figure? Okay, so now we're trying to just follow that, and just for the convenience of us, let's tell ChatGPT to replay the file path with this one. Replace the file path with absolute kind of bad today. Yes. All right. Now let's copy this and see what we got. Okay, so we ran into a type error, and let's copy both the error message and the line. So okay, now if we try this new one, okay, now we can see that after a long time, really long time running, ChatGPT finally, the code brought by ChatGPT gave us a plot, which doesn't exactly look like what we want here. So I think the issue is that really ChatGPT didn't quite understand our needs and is not the best in terms of interpreting the axes plotted from a 3D plot. So maybe what we need to do is to help it a little bit, give it more prompts. So let's try this. I don't think that's what I want. How about I describe the plot for you? Let's see. Yes, I want access to be the conditions found in my data, y-axis to be the mass, and z-axis to be the counts, but I want to plot individual traces in either condition separate, I guess, as separate lines in a 3D plot. All right, let's try this. Now this is a lot quicker, but this is also not what we want. I think as we can tell from this plot, it seems that ChatGPT was able to plot different vowels, which are the different, if we scroll all the way to the top, are representing the different samples in each condition, but it seems to overlap all of the plots together, which is why we see all this instead of nicely spaced lines as shown in the example plot. So maybe we just need to let it tune a little bit. Let's say you have to actually separate the individual phrases instead of having all of them overlapped on each other within one condition. All right, let's try this. Oh, I don't think that. Okay, I probably copied that when it's halfway generating the plots. Let's do this. Now it's a lot better, right? So we can see that looks pretty similar to what we have here, except the space was a lot wider here, as well as the label of the A and B was very bizarre. All right, let's describe our issues here. The plot looks better, but there's a huge gap between the two conditions, A and B on the x-axis. Let's see what we got. Oh, okay, copy that halfway when it's generating this. I don't think that's very helpful. Okay, so the previous prompt didn't work because I ran out of the free tier for the GPT-4o. So we can transit the discussion maybe to a new chat through just description. Let's see whether we can copy, I think it's this one, the one that we described. The data, actually let's duplicate that. Start a new chat. And let's copy the description of our plot. And let's try this. Like, compared to our previous plot, obviously this is missing the loading the CSV part. So I'm gonna prompt ChatGPT before I even try this plot. I want to read the data from a local CSV file with class as okay, this looks a lot better. Let's try this one. Okay, I think this is the same issue we ran into before when trying to plot overlap every trace within each condition. So we probably should clarify that a little bit. So actually, let me just type it in. I'm going to plot each trace within this separately as one line, and they should be grouped visually by condition, but not overlap with each other. All right, let's try this new suggestion. All right, this code didn't work either because I think what's happening is that this is a super long iteration. Actually, this one, because we have probably thousands of rows per condition, and is plotting each data point one at a time, which is causing a lot of trouble in our plotting. So this just highlight that I think to have ChatGPT plot a 3D plot, we really need to explain the data to ChatGPT very well. So, but before that, we need to understand data ourselves. Given that this is just one we grab, some CSV file we grab online. So let's start with clean slate. And first of all, with the CSV file, can you give me some code to understand the range of values in each column? Now, this is basically asking ChatGPT, can we know what's the range for the mass, for the counts, for the vowels, and for the conditions, right? So first is read the CSV file. We pretty much have already done that. Now, this is where ChatGPT tells us we can use the DataFrame.describe function to get a summary of the statistics. So let's try both of that. So we can actually combine this two. All right, so this is obviously the first 5 rows in our data, and this is the summary. You can read through this explanation when by pausing the video, but it's basically give us the number of data, mean value, standard deviation, minimum 25%, 50%, 70% quantile data, as well as the maximum. What would be the most interesting is that it dropped the condition column in this because it's not a numeric column. The other is that we have the while go through from the mean of 0 to 15. So there are basically 16 unique values of the while, even though there are obviously, hundreds of thousands row of the CSV file. So I think I want to follow the question as, actually tell us there's how you can show the unique values for the categorical column, which is the last one. So let's do that. Okay, so we now know that the condition column has only two conditions, A and B, and there are 16 unique val values. So I'll skip the rest of the ChatGPT and let's say, how can I know the unique values in the val column for each condition? So we can do this. This is basically group by the condition column and look at all the unique val values. So in this case, we notice that in condition A, we have vals number 0 to 7, and in condition B, we have vals number 8 to 15. So this seems to me that basically there's a hierarchy in our data, right? We have two conditions. For each condition, there are 8 vals, and in each val, there's a mass spectrometry data. So this will help us to change our prompt to ChatGPT to generate the plot. So let's first explain the logic to ChatGPT. I think in this data, there are levels of hierarchy. First of all, there are two conditions. Each condition has 8 val values. Each val contains a mass spec trace. Now I want to plot a 3D plot where I can show each val as an individual line, but the lines will be grouped by condition. Now, I think ChatGPT understands the data structure a lot better. So let's copy this into this. Okay, looks like we're getting what we want. It just the legend part is blocking our view. Um, so I guess first of all, don't print the data frame. Second, the legend is blocking the 3D plot right now. And change that. Okay, just make sure the ChatGPT is finished joining the plot, the codes. We can just copy and run it again. Now it's a lot better. So it put the legends to the right side, which is good, and we can clearly see that our guess is right. There are two conditions, and each condition have 8 vals. And this is currently colored by the val. And this is actually not too bad from what we have seen right here. Something we want to do is to increase the gap between the two conditions, right? So how can I increase the gap between the traces, I guess, between the two conditions? All right, do this. I think it's actually a little bit better because if you compare with the previous plots, there's a lot of overlap for this, for example, this yellow line with the brown line. I think that's Vol 8 and maybe even Vol 4 or 5. So, and explain the key adjustment, there's a condition gap. So I think we can just change the number to increase the gap further. Let's double that. So now it's a lot better, but maybe too much. So maybe we need to drop it a little bit. So I think 2. Yeah, that's not too bad. Now it looks a lot similar to what we have here, except that the legend and the coloring or the color code doesn't match what we have here. Um, Here we're colored the trees by the different species, while on the right side in our current code is colored basically trees by the wall number. So let's have ChatGPT fix that. So instead of coloring the trees by wall number, can you help me color them the same, but highlight different peaks or different species peaks with color in each trace? So now this is the new plot, and if you read through the explanation below by pausing here, one of the key change is that it added find peak function. Um, let's do that and see what we got. So we run to arrow saying that only compare identically labeled Siri objects. So let's, oh, not what I meant. Let's copy this. Actually, let's copy the whole thing. Okay, will this work? Um, kind of, right? I think ChatGPT, the find peak now works. So it identified the individual peaks we have in the plots, and instead of color them, it highlighted with a red dots. That's also not very helpful. I think we ran into similar issue in our last session when we tried to color the peak by species. So instead of highlight the type peaks by right dots, can you just color the corresponding portion of the trace? All right, there's a new error. Again, we can copy this to ChatGPT. Okay, now let's copy the code. Well, I think it's clear that ChatGPT was trying to color the peaks identified instead of label them as the red dots. But if you read through the Jupyter notebook, that's the originally discussing this 3D waterfall plot. What was actually plotted here was that obviously this purple line highlights the desired product or so-called full-length product FLP here, while the different truncation traces are labeled or colored based on the identity of the nucleotide. However, without the sequence information of this DNA sample plotted here, it will be a little bit hard for us to reproduce what exactly the same plot. But overall, I think this session summarized how we can have ChatGPT help us to plot a 3D plot. I think it did highlight a bit of the shortcoming of ChatGPT. For example, if we just copy paste a 3D plot as we originally tried right here, sorry, a bit earlier, right here, I think ChatGPT struggled to figure out the exactly what's got plotted here. For example, it will just compress all the traces into one line. It seems that at least up to now, the best way to have ChatGPT help you with a 3D plot is to clearly describe what you want in that plot verbally instead of just sharing the image. And also, the other shortcoming we run into is that it seems that ChatGPT just struggled to get the code bug free from the first run, right? And we ran into that issue multiple times. We have to give him the traceback with the arrow, but ChatGPT was able to kind of correct the plot for us. Well, with that, I want to close our session today. Maybe pause it here if you're interested in exactly how to replicate this 3D plot as it is. Make sure you ping me in the comment, and if we get, let's say, maybe more than 10 comments to ask that question, we can schedule a follow-up section with more information about the sequence here, and we can further optimize our existing 3D plot. And with that, I'd like to thank you for watching this session. Stay tuned for more similar videos where we talk about how you can just use ChatGPT with any programming knowledge to generate insightful plots for yourself. And thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you next time.